Have you ever wondered why great empires fall? We often picture epic battles and invading armies, but the truth is usually far quieter and happens right under everyone's nose. More often than not, empires don't get conquered. They crumble from within. And the weapon they use against themselves? Their own money. This isn't just ancient history. It's a pattern, a cycle that has repeated for thousands of years. And it's happening again right now. Let's travel back to ancient Rome, the superpower of its day. In the 3rd century, the Roman Empire was facing a perfect storm of problems. Constant wars, political instability, and a strained treasury. Sound familiar? The emperors needed money, and they needed it fast, but raising taxes was unpopular and difficult. So they came up with what they thought was a brilliant idea. They started to debase their currency. The famous silver coin, the denarius, which once was nearly pure silver, began to have less and less of it. They mixed in cheaper metals like copper and bronze, but they kept telling everyone it was worth the same. At first it seemed to work. The government could mint more coins and pay its soldiers and bills, but the people weren't fooled for long. Shopkeepers, merchants, and everyday citizens quickly realized that the new coins weren't as valuable. If a coin only had half the silver it used to, you'd need 2 of them to buy what one used to get you. This is the very definition of inflation. Prices for everything, from bread to olive oil, skyrocketed. People lost faith in the money itself. Why save coins that would be worthless tomorrow? The economy ground to a halt. Trade became difficult, so people reverted to bartering, trading goods for goods. The complex economic engine that had powered the Roman Empire seized up, not because of a foreign enemy, but because its own leaders destroyed trust in its currency. The economic chaos weakened the empire, making it vulnerable to all the other problems that eventually led to its collapse. Now let's fast forward a few centuries to the Spanish Empire in the 16th and 17th centuries. Spain hit the jackpot. They discovered vast amounts of gold and silver in the Americas and shipped it back to Europe by the boatload. You'd think this would make them impossibly rich and powerful forever, right? Wrong. It actually led to their decline. This flood of new precious metals had the exact same effect as Rome debasing its coins. With so much more gold and silver in circulation, the value of each individual piece went down. Spain experienced massive inflation, known as the price revolution. Prices across Europe shot up, but it hit Spain the hardest. Their cost for producing goods became so high that they couldn't compete with other countries. It was cheaper to buy things from France or England than to make them at home. So Spain's domestic industries withered away. All that gold and silver flowed right out of the country to pay for foreign goods and to finance endless wars. Instead of investing in their own economy, they relied on a constant stream of treasure from the New World. When that stream began to dry up, Spain was left with a hollowed-out economy and mountains of debt. They had mistaken the symptom of wealth, gold, for the cause of wealth, which is productive capacity. They effectively inflated their own currency into oblivion. Let's jump to another example. The Ottoman Empire in its later years. Once a mighty force that spanned 3 continents, by the 19th century, it was known as the sick man of Europe. A huge part of this sickness was, once again, monetary. The Ottoman government was constantly in debt. To pay their bills, they resorted to the same old trick. They repeatedly debased their currency, reducing the amount of precious metal in their coins. At the same time, they took on massive loans from European banks, which they couldn't repay. This created a vicious cycle of currency devaluation and mounting debt. The economic instability made it impossible to modernize and compete with the industrializing powers of Europe. The trust of the people was gone. The empire limped on until its final collapse after World War I, but its economic foundations had been rotting away for decades. Perhaps the most famous and extreme example is the Weimar Republic in Germany after World War I. Saddled with crippling war reparations demanded by the Treaty of Versailles, the German government saw no way out. They couldn't tax their people enough, and they couldn't borrow. So they turned on the printing presses. They began printing money, mountains of it, to pay their debts. The result was hyperinflation on a scale the world had never seen. In 1922, $1 was worth about 4,000 German marks. By the end of 1923, $1 was worth over 4 trillion marks. The currency became completely worthless. People would use wheelbarrows to carry cash to buy a loaf of bread. Lifelong savings were wiped out overnight. The social and economic fabric of the country was torn apart. This catastrophic failure of money created a breeding ground for extremism, paving the way for political forces that would lead the world into another devastating war. So what's the common thread here? Rome, Spain, the Ottomans, Weimar Germany. In every case, leaders faced a financial crisis and chose the easy way out. Instead of making hard decisions like cutting spending or reforming the economy, they chose to manipulate the money. They diluted the silver. They printed paper. They took on unsustainable debt. Today, the methods have changed. Governments don't shave silver off coins anymore. They have more sophisticated tools. They engage in something called quantitative easing, which is a fancy term for creating new money electronically. They sell government bonds and run massive deficits, piling up national debt to levels never seen before in history. Think about it. The core principle is exactly the same. They are increasing the supply of money and credit without a corresponding increase in the real goods and services the economy produces. This dilutes the value of every single dollar, euro, or yen already in existence. It's a hidden tax on your savings. It punishes savers and rewards debtors. It creates bubbles in assets like stocks and real estate, making a few people very rich while the cost of living rises for everyone else. It erodes trust. Just like in Rome, people are starting to lose faith in the long-term value of their national currencies. Why does this keep happening? Because it's politically easy. Printing money is far less painful in the short term than raising taxes or cutting popular government programs. It allows governments to spend without immediate consequences. The bill always comes due, but it comes later. The inflation, the economic slowdown, the loss of trust, these things happen gradually until they suddenly don't. History shows us that these periods of monetary experimentation always end badly. They end in crisis, a loss of purchasing power, and often significant social and political upheaval. The lesson that echoes through the ages is stark and clear. A strong society is built on sound money. When a nation starts to destroy its own currency, it is a sign that it has lost its way. It's choosing short-term fixes over long-term stability. It's a symptom of a deeper problem. History doesn't punish. It doesn't get angry. It simply repeats its lessons over and over again until we finally learn them. The question we have to ask ourselves today is, are we paying attention this time? Thanks for watching. If you found this journey through history insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that connects the past to the present. See you in the next video.